Fuck this job, fuck you boss, fuck your profit and fuck your loss. Fuck you Linda at the front desk too, guy in the mailroom, fuck you. This whole company can slap my knob, fuck all y'all, fuck this job.
Welcome to the AM workflow, ladies and gentlemen. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:15 a.m. I'm your boy, Walls P, and of course, I got my lovely host, Erica P.
Good morning, everybody.
And this is the show that we assist you guys on your way to work, if you're getting off of work, getting the kids ready for school, whatever it is that you're doing, we are here to assist you this morning. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about self-defense, and I guess I would call it, I just had the name, but it's slipping my mind. Consent. There you go, consent. And what sparked this conversation is there was a transgender who was apparently deleted by an individual by the name of Damarean Kaylon Bible. So what happened was Damarean Kaylon Bible was walking past like a bus station, a bus terminal, and Williams apparently asked him, does he want head? So he agrees to this, and they wind up going into a back alley or something like that, right? So when they go into the back alley and he's now getting head from this transgender, now I don't know the full details. I don't know if he found out she was a transgender in the process or whatever the case may be, but he said it started making him feel suspicious or something like that. It didn't feel right. So after everything was done, he said that it still didn't feel right, and something told him to end this transgender. So he pulls out his gun and wind up shooting her and killed her. Went home to his parents and everything, told them what happened. Cops got called, and boom, the man is arrested, and that's that. And there's other cases of stuff like this happening where a person meet somebody, later find out they're transgender because the person wasn't up front, and bad things happen. I'm gonna say, I believe that these people should not suffer any consequences. And the reason why I'm saying I don't believe these people should suffer any consequences is because of the simple fact that if we look at grape, right? When it comes to grape, it can be a person, physically trying to assault you, so to speak, or you're walking into a situation that you're either being tricked or manipulated into. So, like the case of Dwight Howard, where he was supposed to link up with a guy, and when the guy came up to the house, he had another person there, and the guy like he was supposed to link up with was like, nah, I'm not interested. So if Dwight would have tricked this guy or whatever the case into this situation, wouldn't that be considered a crime in a sense? Because you're literally tricking somebody into doing something sexually that you did not agree to. So in a sense like this, if a person is misleading you for a sexual encounter, can't one argue that that's some form of grape or something like that? So that's why I'm like, I don't know if you should actually face consequences for something like this, because I see it as that's a form of grape. So if I see somebody graping somebody in an alley or something like that, and I happen to go save this person, and in the process, the person happened to lose their life, I wouldn't face any charges because I'm theoretically stopping a crime from happening or something, or graping from happening, or somebody getting taken advantage of against their will, or some form of trickery, so to speak. So that's where I stand on that, where I don't think a person should face any consequences. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:15 a.m. to 6:45 a.m. I wholeheartedly believe if a person is under false pretenses when it comes to anything sexual, that is a form of grape. If it's something that you literally do not consent to up front, know all the details, that's great. So if I consider that as rape, then I consider that as a means of self-defense. You had another case of a guy by the name of Orlando Perez, I believe his name was. And he went to a young woman's house, talking to her and everything like that. Then he asked her, "Hey, are you a woman?" The woman confessed, "I'm a transgender." The man got mad, left the house, came back, deleted her. In a case like that, that individual should suffer the consequences because there was no sexual engagement or anything. She was straightforward with it and told them, "Yo, I'm a transgender," before anything sexually ever happened. But if something sexually takes place under false pretenses, I'm sorry, there should be laws in place that says that this is a form of grape because you're literally doing something under the person. Um, you're doing something against the person's will, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but you can't look at it as under false pretenses. The person who's throwing it out there, they can throw it out there to everybody. Everybody does not have to accept the act. My thing is, once you decided to go through the performance of this act, you clearly knew what it was.
You
And my
can't,
thing is, it is up
but
to
you,
the person that is getting this act to make the conscious efforts. You need to talk to these people. You can't just be saying, "Hey, I'm gonna just go out there and do with any nobody." You have to make sure that you're doing this act with somebody that you want to represent you. I understand these things can be transactional, but even if it is transactional, you have to ask those important questions. It's one
okay.
thing if a person said no and then they lied to you. That's something completely different. We don't know what the whole circumstance was. And they probably could have known, "Hey, by the way, I'm a trans woman and not a woman." We don't know this person's mindset. We don't know if they really knew what was going on or not.
Yeah, but in these cases that I'm mentioning, the people later found out that the person was transgender. And there was literally a transgender woman who one could say is a celebrity. I don't remember her name because when I covered the Orlando Perez story, it was in the video how she did everything in her power to cover up and hide from the person she's dealing with that she actually had a twig and berries. So how would she do this? She would put a towel under her and say, "Oh, I'm spotting," or whatever, this, that, and the third. And she was like, if you got a bunch of cheeks, then you can cover it up and get away with it. So you're literally deceiving these people, willingly knowing you're deceiving these people. So in a case, you have transgenders who, and I'm not saying this is all, but you have cases where they don't say anything to the person and they want them to either fall in love with them first or whatever the case may be, because they feel if they upfront with the person may leave. So they try and cover it as much as possible. So if that's the case, And the person wound up doing whatever with you and find out in the process, in my opinion, that's a form of grape.
If that is the case, and that's the problem, you don't always know if it's always a deception issue. So because it's not always a deception issue, in most of these cases, I need you to be able to prove it for me. I need you to go through the history, like, hey, where's the text messages at? Where's them out in public? And this is the problem. If you're not physically in a relationship with these people and you just go and do the act once or twice, you don't know what those conversations are. And I'm holding the onus on both parties. I can't just hold the onus on the person that possibly is deceiving. Because you have some that are upfront with their life, be like, look, before I get into any circumstance, this is what it is. And if that's what, if I'm out there upfront and I'm telling you what's going on, and I'm telling you how I live my life, and you still choose to be a willing participant, and then you act on it, then yes, we have a very big problem. That means you're preying on these types of individuals.
But Erica P, we don't hear about transgenders that are being deleted in situations like this that were up front. The going story and all of these news articles and the not no articles and police reports is the person did not know. That's the ones that you are hearing about that are being deleted. The ones that are up front, people just walk away like, you know what, I'm not into that. I'm keeping it pushing, and that's that. It's the ones that aren't up front that are popping up in these articles in the news saying, hey, we have somebody like a tragedy that happened, yada yada. So the ones up front, maybe I could be wrong, but I don't ever recall hearing anything about them being deceiving people and the person pull out a gun or bring bodily harm to them.
But this is the problem. The stories are going to be skewed to get people to click them. So you don't know how many of those stories are accurate or leaving out pertinent information just to make sure that the story fits, because that's the narrative that's going on currently. So that's the problem. You don't always know. So it's like, hey, I want my story to spin. Story that got 50 billion views. And then on that end, it's who's the onus on? Is the onus on the writers? Is the onus on the people that are making the opposition story spin? So that's the problem. It's people are always going to make their narrative fit whatever the dire circumstance is at the moment. And if people are fearful of what's different, the story of elimination is going to be out there with the premise of, hey, we don't know. Because 9 times out of 10, the person that is gone can't speak their truth, and the one who's having the information come out realistically didn't want the information to come out to begin with.
Yeah, but wouldn't that person, if the person don't want something to come out, wouldn't it be, yo, keep this between me and you? But if you get the word out, then I'm gonna do something. You don't just turn around and execute them right then and there. You're gonna be like, yo, you better keep this on a hush. And if you say anything, then it's gonna be a problem. When you look at these police reports, these are actions that happen, and within the same time frame of whatever the action happened, the same day and the whole nine, we're talking minutes or an hour or two afterwards that the person is getting deleted. So that's not a case of, you know, getting the story misconstrued and everything like that. That tells me, if I'm looking at things objectively, that something happened. You didn't know you didn't know what it was. You came and found out afterwards what it was. So your act of aggression. Because I'm speaking from a man's point of view. If I did something with a transgender or whatever, and I found out later that this was a transgender, like after the act was done or during the act, then I don't know what my reaction will be. That can cause that act of rage where I might react right then and there and then think about it later. But once everything goes down, it's going to be, yo, I did XYZ. This person wasn't upfront with their sexual orientation to me. So I did what I had to do. So that's why I'm saying, like, I could understand a news article make a lie or whatever, but we're talking about these are police reports that are reporting what happened.
Yeah, but think about it. The police reports are only getting the facts of whatever the person is saying. So if this is what they're saying, they could be also covering their tracks too. They could be saying like that because they know eventually these reports will come out, which
I, I,
skews the information.
I get what you're saying, but to me, the only way it will make sense, like it would make sense. I would agree with what you're saying if the sexual act happened and then 2 weeks later or a week later, that person came and ended the person. That makes sense to me because now it's like, yo, I knew what it was. We were supposed to keep it on a hush hush. You didn't hold your end of the bargain, so now you gotta pay. But a few minutes after or during, that really sounds like to you that they knew what was going on and then just ended the person's life after they got their rocks off. Like, do you really think that a person would do that? I
If
guess
you're,
that's what I'm asking.
for me, if you're a person that's hunting those types of individuals, yes. Now you're right. I get what you're saying now. If it happens out of rage after it happens, then yes, I get exactly what you're saying. But my thing is, an accident or not, you still need to be held for your actions. So even if it's out of fit of rage, you eliminate somebody, you have to pay the price. You should be able to control your emotions a little bit better.
So, in a case like that, that a person lie about their identity, whatever, or don't disclose it, and the person get intimate, whatever the case may be, and the person find out during, you don't think that's like a form of grape or something like that?
No, because you're a willing participant. Even if they lied to get you into the act, a lie is a lie, but it can still be classified as grape.
So let me ask you this: if I have a STD and I know I have a STD, and I get you in bed, and then after I get you in bed, you find out I had an STD and gave it to you. In a lot of places, that's a crime. But by what you're saying is, if you're a willing participant, no, it's not a crime. That falls on your shoulder. That's basically what you're saying.
But you do realize there are other states that don't believe in that either. And you want to be out there and being promiscuous, you have to take the consequences with the risk of, i.e., STDs, i.e., getting pregnant. So if you have to take the risk of all of those factors when you're being sexually active, you need to be more conscious with picking people that you're deciding to sleep with. So
See,
you have the argument on both sides.
so what's universal throughout the country. If you have HIV and you sleep with somebody and you don't disclose it to them and you give them HIV, you're going to jail. It doesn't
Correct.
matter if the person was a willing participant or not. This was something you should have disclosed to them before before anything went down sexually.
Correct.
So
But
if you
now,
if
but think
so
about it though. The ones who don't get penalized are the ones who did not know. Think about it. Most
yes,
people
but
get checked, what, once a year,
that's people who
possibly?
did not know, but you know you're a transgender. You won't say I didn't know I was born a woman or I was born a man. No, you knew. You went through the whole process. So not knowing you have an STD is different. You clearly know that you're a transgender.
You have to
Am I
think
right?
about it. You're
Huh?
right. You're right. But you also have to think about it until the times change and laws come into play for the transgenders, either for or against them. All of these things are speculation. because you can't hold somebody to a law that does not apply to them. And
Oh, I know.
unfortunately, they don't consider that part of that law.
Oh, I agree with you that the law, there's no law saying this. I agree 1000%. I'm just pointing out the dynamic that if somebody gets you in bed through trickery or manipulation or something like that, a woman have the right to say, yo, I was actually assaulted by this individual. I did not consent. So that's a crime in a sense. So I'm saying if that's a crime that a person got you in bed to trickery, why is this not a crime? I'm questioning it. Like, why is it not a crime?
You're right. I get what you're saying now. If
Yeah, that
if
I'm
the
not.
person deceived you, then yes, there has to be some kind of ramification. But I'm sorry, taking that person's life is not the fitting punishment for that act either.
The only reason why I'm saying like taking the person's life, like pretty much taking a person's life. Like, here's the thing. I can't say what I would or wouldn't do in that situation because I don't know what kind of fit of rage I would be in. So I will wholeheartedly say that I have no idea what fit of rage or mindset I would be in to react. But if a person can stop somebody who's raping somebody or exalting them or whatever the case may be while said act is going on, I see it no different if you did it through means of trickery, so to speak. So it's like, yo, I'm stopping a crime or an assault or whatever from happening to me. And I did it, the best way that I could. Like, can one argue that? Well, of course, there's no law in place or whatever, but if I see those two the same, it's like, why can't you argue it? Why can't that be an argument in the court of law?
Well, most times it probably is going to be the argument, and then it's going to be up to the judge and the jury to decide where they go from there. And the reason for that is it's hard. It's a hard stance because not all situations are going to be by the book, and they're not always going to be the same.
All right, I know we're reaching the time. We're reaching our time for the end of the show, and we apologize that we was having technical difficulties going forward. We should be able to remedy this so that it doesn't happen. But here's my question to you: do you believe that uh, like a law should be in place where if you're getting intimate with somebody, you have to disclose it to them? Do you believe a law should be in place? Like, you don't have to tell them up front, but the minute it goes to, hey, we're gonna have sexual relations, by law, you have to disclose it to that person. Do you think
I
that should be a law?
I do because I would rather your partner or potential partners be interested in what you are and want to accept what they're putting themselves into. It's them making the conscious decision to choose to do it or not. When you take that choice away from somebody, the consequences are never good. It causes psychological problems. It causes fits of rage. It causes potential extermination. So if those are all of the consequences that come from those actions, I would rather it be an upfront choice first.
And I agree with you. If it's gonna save more lives and make people feel a lot safer when it comes to courting women or men, then I agree wholeheartedly that something should be, in place. Especially if you have a lot of people who feel that this ideology is being forced down their throat, so to speak. So I do agree. If you're gonna put policies in place to, you know, have these rights and everything to be okay, then you gotta have policies in place as well to protect those who are outside of that realm, so to speak. Like, for instance, how you know, they could go in certain bathrooms, whatever. There's women that don't feel protected in those situations and stuff like this. So there should be rules, laws in place where there can be a happy medium, so to speak. So yes, I do agree that there should be laws in place for disclosure and a happy medium be felt. A happy medium be put in place. Because at the end of the day, this is the world that we live in going forward. There's absolutely nothing anybody could do or say about it, whether you agree with it or not. So it's about finding that happy medium so that, you know, we all can live in harmony and have that balance. And with that being said, that's going to do it for the AM workflow. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties, but anything you want to say, Erica P, before we get up out of here?
Like, I'm gonna tell everybody good morning. Have a good day. We're gonna have to go make this money so we can bring them to bed.
All right. And all I got to say is, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, stay sane, and make it to your destination safely. I'm your boy, Walls P, and this is my lovely host, Erica P, signing off saying peace and have a good and blessed day.
Fuck this job, fuck you boss, fuck your profit and fuck your off.